Yeah, I have no.
Have you gone down to see her?
It's just happened today, just this afternoon. It was working fine.
Reboot now, because it was.
I
out.
just did.
Did you? Oh, all right, we're on.
Okay, call the meeting to order for the Charter Commission for the Town of Harwich. It's January 22nd, 6:30 PM here at Town Hall. We have a quorum. So we have first order of business is called to order. Second, approval of the regular minutes for January 15th.
Move to approve.
Second.
Still can't find
Any, okay, Richard, thank you, and Lou for a second. Any changes, corrections, et cetera? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. All right, continuing business. The invitation to the former members of the Select Board. Have you finalized that invitation? Lady and gentleman.
I just sent you the two names.
Yeah,
I have
and
not
you've
been
got-
able to access Shirley's email, so
Okay,
that's everything I have.
so you have a letter. I would suggest that you add to the letter that if you are unable to attend, send us your thoughts
Got it.
at charter.commission@Harwich.
You sent that to me, yes. I'll add that.
Add that, so if somebody can't come, they can send us something, and our
Can that go out
email.
just from the commission? It doesn't have to go out from the chair? It can go
No,
out-
it
Okay,
can go out from the commission.
got it. I can do that tomorrow.
We are good?
Yep.
Okay, done. Richard, you had something to say?
Just, yeah, I attended the select board meeting the other night, and there was a discussion by a member. The topic was the assistant town administrator. And one of the members, and they had a discussion about the need for an assistant town administrator.
As in, we don't need one?
One of the members had that perspective, and it was discussed. And I did speak, and I said, I am speaking, I am a member of the Charter Commission, and I said, we are discussing, you know, the potential of a strong town administrator, whereas eliminating an assistant may put additional responsibilities on the town administrator as a result of potential change to the charter. It was a great opportunity to do a public announcement for the charter. And then the chair asked, well, has that been codified? I said, it's a discussion. I said, we haven't codified anything. Everything's been by, for the most part, consensus. However, we would love to have you either attend or watch our meetings, because these are discussions that we're having about the community and the future of the community. So it was just an opportunity to do a PSA
Okay.
for the charter.
Good work.
And it was an interesting discussion, because it does relate to what we're discussing here.
Well, I mean, the charter, whether we have an assistant town administrator or not, yes, it might change the town administrator, but also would possibly weaken the town administrator's role.
Right.
Because if they're doing more and more staff accountant work, they're doing less visionary and management work. So it would weaken the town administrator.
Correct.
Possibly. Dilute them, so
Well,
to
I would
speak.
Yeah, it'll
also-
dilute.
I would be a little careful about throwing around the term strong town administrator. If you're going to use it at all, say maybe stronger.
Oh, thank you, it's a good point. That's,
Because we do have a strong town administrator role.
Effectively, yeah.
that's a good point to bring up. And I didn't mean to speak for the commission, I wasn't. I was really just talking, as you're talking about the subject, it is a topic that we're discussing. And it's an opportunity for you to weigh in if you wish. And I said a couple of you have been to our meetings, and, you know, it's a great opportunity for anyone else to weigh in. It was just, again, an opportunity to do a PSA for
You'd
ourselves.
think it'd almost be obligatory.
I would hope at the end of the day that the consensus would be for the assistant TA, if for no other reason, is that our new TA applied for and accepted a job with the
right.
basis of an assistant.
That was the acting town administrator or the interim town administrator's discussion.
Yes.
But isn't that something, again, it doesn't matter either way. Could the charter say that at the discretion of the town administrator, he could have one or not? Or, I mean,
But that's any role in town.
okay,
You know,
that's why I say that's
Town
not.
administrator, he or she would be, I know we have a he this time, but any position can be decided to be left open. We've not had a town engineer or a
That's right.
town surveyor for a while.
That's right.
So I don't think you need to say at the discretion of. I
Okay.
don't think that's needed.
Yeah, that's why I said it, it's not.
All
But
right,
That's a good term, Sandy. We'll.
stronger,
Yeah,
Stronger.
Yeah.
strengthen the role.
Yeah, and the point you made there was if we're making him stronger, that there's gonna be more responsibilities coming his way anyway, so, you know,
And to doing that by himself or herself.
I
would be-
think part
A lot
of
of work.
one of the problems that Tony has had in the job is that he's had to cover both himself. So some of the things that he would have liked, and this is, I think has been mentioned more than once, some of the things that he would like to have gotten done, he was not able to address simply because he doesn't, as he put it, have enough white space to do it.
He did mention that at the meeting as well, that things have been left to slide, to focus on things like budget and town meeting and so forth, so.
Same thing happened to Chris Clark when the assistant town administrator's position was open. As he put it, I remember he said, "I'm flying solo here."
yeah.
And you end up having to do, not that doing work is bad, but you're right, the white space is the first thing to go. The thinking space is the first to go.
I did use that term, by the way, the white space. And here's the thing, I think what it illustrates is a lot of people are unfamiliar with the roles here in town hall and the work that some of the staff do. You know, it's substantial, and a TA, I mean, just the workflow that he's done and provided is very substantial. And I think it leads to things like articles that were approved 3 years ago not being initiated or followed up on. That just, there's only so much time.
I think we had a discussion on that, which is what type of person should be. And we discussed this. It's like you're asking the general to do the sergeant's work. And that doesn't work very well. They're two different roles.
It works for a day.
Yeah.
It works for a week, but it does not work permanently, so
not for
I.
6
We're on the same page here.
But I just want to commend your committee, the search committee, did an excellent job. And I think we've got a wonderful new town administrator coming in.
We had a really, I think, great mix of people on that committee, and I was almost sorry when we finished because the meetings were excellent and it was just very collaborative and we all came to the same conclusions. So it's not too bad.
It was a
Plus,
great-
our consultant did very well by us. He did. He didn't try to drive us in any particular direction, but he was there when it was needed, and I, appreciated that effort too.
I think it was ironic that he was also the consulting firm that brought Mr. McGrail to Middleborough.
Well, he recruited him, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He went looking for him.
That's why we hired him.
Yeah,
So
he did. He recruited a number of people that we considered, and we started out with 8 to interview. One of them had found a job in another place, so we interviewed the 8, and then we did, a ranking, and it came out pretty much the same for everybody. So it was good.
Good process.
Mhm.
All right. Next topic, fall town meeting codified. Now, interestingly enough, Sandy made sure to hunt up
Yeah.
the old
It's in there.
charter, and I know she sent
Yep.
the few pages to you all, because there's been some conversation about primarily financial versus primarily zoning and bylaws, et cetera. But the language that is in this it's the second page, chapter 2, the second page, which is, the town meeting shall regularly adopt an annual operating capital budget and act on financial and other matters. The town meeting shall also meet on the first week in October, act on matters of planning, zoning, and all bylaw, as well as to consider other business, including blah, 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 goes on. Appropriation of town funds, da-da-da-da-da. So it leaves it open that it's not only financial, only zoning and bylaws. I think it's well worded.
I would like to point out, interestingly enough, and I don't know when it changed, but the original charter specified the first week in May.
Right,
And
exactly.
And
I
somewhere-
see that.
And somewhere along the line, somebody decided to make it, that was probably the Ovasca revision whenever she did it. And there are a lot of odd little things like that I look at and go, why was that changed? There was no need.
I thought when I read it today, I said, geez, that's
Sounds
pretty
pretty good.
clear. Yeah, and I noticed the first week as well, saying, that makes sense.
We had an extraordinary consultant for this, Dr. Booth, and he came down from Amherst every week in snowstorms. We had blackouts 3 times in Brooks Academy, and we actually met by candlelight.
We were tough then.
I'll tell you what, it was, we were dedicated.
1840, 1850?
1850, yeah.
So
I'll
what do you
talk to
think?
later.
So what do you think
There was,
about this stuff?
Paul's not here, but we gave him, he chose to take on a task about this,
Yes,
and I chose to help him.
yep,
And so we
you have an
sat,
answer?
and we went over the warrant articles for the last 3 years
Mm-hmm,
and tried to see if there was any variance between 1 year and another year and another year. And we quit after 28. We decided not to go beyond 28 because it was just very arduous, doing
28.
manually warrant articles. So which were the first 28,
okay,
okay, of each year. And when you compare them, they were identical.
probably.
So
In terms of
splitting them
class-
up, they're gonna be the same no matter what we do.
I
It
think-
doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
The first 28 doesn't give you the whole picture.
I think the idea was,
yeah, well,
I think the
we stopped
idea
at
was
28.
to say, if you did
Yep,
financial, et cetera, how many would that put into May? And in the fall, everybody else. So if you had 60 articles, if it ended up being 35 and 25, if my math is right. I think that's what we were looking for. Because the first 20, 25 articles are generally the same, regardless.
I just helped, and he's not here to be yelled at, okay? So I just helped.
He's not falling on the sword.
Okay, it's not on this one, okay? I just chose to
Well,
help.
the point being, if you had, even if you just went through 1 or 2, how many of the articles would be the financial ones all by themselves, and how many would split off and happen in the fall under this?
Planning,
Plan.
zoning,
So,
So you guys
here's
didn't
how
do
we-
that?
No, we didn't do all of
Okay.
that. We did a lot, but not that. But the conclusion, I think, that was reached, and maybe we ought to think about it, is who should, the select board, that's their role, to determine what and when and where. Is it really our role as a charter member to say, you will put it in here?
Go ahead. Well, the point is, I think that what we were trying to say is, if we have between 60 and 70 articles every year,
Yep.
are about half of them more financial, and are half of them not financial, I think was the,
Yeah.
this is why I love staff. You tell them to do something, they do something different.
I had a discussion with the town administrator today, the acting town administrator. And I brought this up, I said, we're discussing this, and he said, I think just as you mentioned, giving the select board and the town administrator the flexibility
Right.
to bring something. He said, if something occurs that is financial, whether it's a grant, whether it's an issue with a contract, and, it happens in August or September, and you have to say, well, we can't address that till May. But we could address it in October if we had, and gave the flexibility to put issues out there. Hearing that discussion today, and I would love to have him here to speak to that, I would be of belief that I would leave the 2 town meetings in place. And I gotta be frank with you, the wording that was in place in the 87 charter,
Good
there's
to
no
know.
reason that same wording can't be utilized.
So, yes, because I think that, yes, you want to give the flexibility to the select board to be splitting this. But what we're trying to accomplish with 2 town meetings would be to give them that flexibility, which they do not have now.
And we discussed that also.
Would it be fair to point out to you, Lou, that that this is kind of an outlier for you to consider it that way, because there are other things that you want to
Yeah.
tell the selectmen what to do, and if it's not our role to tell the select board and the other committees, or suggest to them what they might want to wish to adopt and do, then why are we doing this at all?
Well, we're doing this because we want to say that we're going to have a town meeting.
No, I'm
We are
asking why
going
we're
to-
doing a charter at all, if not to guide and direct how the different boards
But-
behave.
To guide and direct what is policy, but not the right policy. not to get into the details of what is going to be in a warrant article. That's the difference.
Not making any sense to me, but that's.
Well,
okay.
it is from an executive
So can
perspective.
I put this,
This is
are
what-
we in disagreement or in agreement?
I'm not sure.
Because my point, and please if you agree or disagree, I think the wording that was in the 87 charter is well, allowing the first week, not a day. And
Which we have now.
Correct. And I would change back to the original charter, and I would give the flexibility to the select board and the town
Yeah.
administrator, whatever they want to put in the town
Yeah.
meeting.
Right,
But
that's
you're
what
still
I'm saying.
specifying the two-town meeting.
Two town meetings, exactly.
Okay.
I would
But, yeah.
specifying.
I'm
No, no,
sorry,
no,
I
no,
was
no, no.
missing
No,
the
no,
point.
but
Okay.
my point,
Okay.
You're given the option.
But I
Right.
do want to say
Give them
this
the
about
option.
Yeah, the master law already allows for
right.
that, so.
There was one point that I had that was against having the split, and I wanted to go over that. And that's, my thinking started to be the continuity of having one after another. And you lose that, but you gain an incredible amount by splitting it into two meetings.
Okay, I don't understand the statement, the continuity of one after another.
I'm out of bed, I go to the meeting, I know I gotta go tomorrow. Versus, I went to the meeting, oh my, now it's a whole new process to get me to go to another meeting.
In the fall?
Yeah, that was the only negative. It's not a major, but when you do a pro and a con, when you do the Ben Franklin, that's a con.
Well, why don't you just leave your bed in the auditorium and then you don't
For
have
6
to go
months, you'd be
anywhere?
good.
For 6 months?
Hmm.
I mean, I would think it would be
I'm not
easy
opposed to it.
I
I'm
would
just-
Get the
think it would be
camera out, make
easier.
me tubes.
to get people for a day in May and a day in October.
Yeah, but then I did some homework. And I looked at the last 3 years of who attended town meeting and what the plus and the minuses were from one year to another year to another year. And we say that it's agenda-driven, but looking at the numbers, there's a very slight difference of who go. It's always the same people. You're looking at a 20% difference, maybe, from one year to another.
Well,
So,
maybe it would include more people at a point in time when you
yeah,
didn't have to commit 2 or 3 nights in the
Till that-
same
yeah.
week.
yeah, we're on the same page
I
there.
mean, you could conceivably finish a town meeting in one night.
But that convinced me of something else, which is
Like,
the people that come to town meeting themselves may be the most knowledgeable about what's going on in the town. Whereas if we had, let's say, an extra 100 people, they might come for a single issue and still vote on others without really understanding. So you have to look at both sides on all issues.
But
I prefer to have the educated.
But, well, that may be true, however,
I prefer
the
numbers.
concept of an open town meeting is you open the doors, and who's ever a registered voter gets to come in.
Not gonna
There
close
are,
them.
there are no tests that say, do you know all the articles by heart? You can't come in.
Yeah.
There's no tests. So,
I didn't want to give a test. I'm just saying, the people that are coming are
Here's the other
knowledgeable.
thing. With a 2 or 3 night town meeting, people get tired. And to be very frank, a lot of town meeting members who do attend are aging out.
Yep.
And I think we're seeing less and less of the replacements coming in. I am concerned, I want to see everyone vote. I want to see everyone
Yep.
there to be aware.
I'm
And
not-
those who are not, who are ignorant of town issues, become educated
Yep.
at town
Right,
meeting.
by being
Wrong
there.
place to educate, but nonetheless, they're becoming educated
Gotta start
about
somewhere.
town politics. I just believe it, I'd love to hear from Herb and Brendan on this. I think having at least the option of 2 town meetings,
Yeah.
open in the first week of May and October, gives them the flexibility to do what they want to do. I'd love to hear from you too.
Yeah, I think the key word is option. So stick with what we have, and if there's a need for a special meeting in October, yes. I don't think that we wanna really well, unless we want to select what happens if we push all the finance stuff to that meeting, or citizens petitions or what have you. But definitely the option. is
So
the
you're
key
not
word.
in favor of mandating 2 town meetings?
that's what, see, keep in
Yeah,
mind,
is that the question?
That is
yes,
the
it is.
question.
That is.
Do you want to mandate town meetings? Because right now, under the current charter, the select board has the option to call a special town meeting in October, and they can do that.
They could do that.
That's the option.
But they can opt to do that,
And I'm gonna change my stance.
so changes,
I prefer to mandate
oh, okay.
a spring and a fall,
Yeah.
open at the day that they choose, open to what they want to put in, not limiting financial or zoning, because in essence, everything is financial.
Yes.
Right.
I'm in agreement
Well,
with that.
I would respectfully disagree. I think that the emphasis, first, for the sake of clarity, number one, so the staff and the town knows what it's doing for one town meeting, and it knows what it's doing for the other town meeting. I think it's, if you can specify the zoning for the fall, it gives a much better opportunity to highlight those issues of themselves, and as it would with the financial. Neither one of these is limiting having other things in them if there is a
Correct.
need. But I do think that one of the things that happens when you get into the run-up to town meeting and you've got 65 articles and it's the
It's too
whole,
many.
it's the whole, people, well, they'll
I agree.
become that one issue, either financial or zoning, that overtakes everything else.
Mhm.
And so you don't get to focus on some of the things that are important, and I think it gives you a better chance actually to educate your voters.
Do you agree with the original wording?
Yes,
So,
100%.
and I feel the original wording
I-
should go back.
That's what I
I would
Okay, so
probably,
we do agree.
That's the email.
so,
It's scary.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I would probably say that, the second, the town meeting in the first week of October,
Page 4, right?
it basically says, planning,
Three.
zoning, all other matters of a bylaw nature,
Here.
I can read it.
conduct on other such business, including matters interpreting appropriation of town funds.
Do you want
I
to read
think-
this?
The only,
I
the
think-
only, the only
I
difference
think
in-
I would like to see added, in the first section, 231, town meeting is regularly to consider and adopt operating capital budget and to act on financial and other matters. I'd like to see the other matters more clearly identified in the second one, because I don't think it is.
So let me just say this to you, okay? And should we combine it that in essence, both paragraphs should be similar? Unless
Yes.
you want to emphasize the planning part on the second one. But the 232 states matter of planning, zoning, other matters, or of a
Of a
bylaw
bylaw-
nature, as
Other
well
matters
as,
of a bylaw nature.
and consider other business, including matters involving an appropriation of town funds as may properly come before the meeting.
How about adopt an annual operating and capital budget to act on financial and other matters requiring the expenditure of funds?
See, but that leaves,
That would be your override, your,
No, I agree, but here's the problem with that particular wording, and you've seen, you've acted, you've sat in the board. Well, the first one, we can only deal with financial. We can't deal with zoning or other matters.
and we've got a big honkin' deal zoning thing that we've got to get done, or we're gonna lose a $50 million
Right,
grant.
So that's why I would like to see, yes, if we want to do the annual budget at the spring, I think it's great. If we want to do the capital plan at the spring, that's great. But can also consider planning, zoning, and other matters of bylaw nature.
If time allows.
Time is a factor, time is a variable.
Yeah,
And that variable isn't being considered. If I go to a town meeting and I have an agenda, and we go through that agenda, and in an hour, I'm finished. Now, the second town meeting, 6 hours later, you're still discussing zoning,
Mhm.
where some of that could have been moved up to the first. We need that
No,
flexibility.
I agree, and that's my
That's why
point.
you say, and other matters.
And my
I'm fine.
fear for putting in just, in essence, wording strictly on financial on the annual spring, May town meeting is that a board, well, no, we can't discuss zoning
Yes.
because that's only for the fall town meeting.
Yeah.
I think both town meetings should be able to address issues that come before the town.
Is what was financial in the second one.
Correct.
All right.
But I do
Well,
agree with
I think
Sandy.
there is one distinction to make, though.
What's that?
You got a capital budget.
In
And
the
you need-
annual town
No,
meeting,
I'm
the
not
annual
done.
budget.
I'm not
Okay.
done.
Go ahead.
And you have either a capital exclusion or a debt exclusion, has to be on the annual ballot.
But
We
those-
can't
those-
have another ballot.
I agree, but here's the thing, those occur as part of the budget,
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
So that the
Well, that's
annual
why I
budget.
wouldn't want to move the capital budget to
No, 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 I'm
the
saying
fall.
exactly what
No, no,
Sandy
no.
said.
That-
The
so to
annual
make sure.
budget and the capital budget should be addressed at the
Spring.
the May town meeting, we'll call it, rather than the annual, the May town meeting. But that, the other, and they can address planning and other issues of bylaw at the May town meeting. But they can also do the same thing outside of the annual town budget
And the
and
capital
capital
budget.
plan.
Okay,
in October.
October.
Herb, thoughts?
I think 2 definitely mandated town meetings. I like a separation to some degree if, you know, you allow flexibility. But again, as time allows, so you don't drag it out into the 3 nights each spring and fall. There's gotta be, I would think, some way of limiting how much time or topics you would allow to go on, so you avoided that.
That's up to the
Moderator.
That's entirely under his purview. We don't get to decide that.
It's the moderator and our moderator who has made you get to speak for 3 minutes, you can speak a second time after everybody else has had their nose counted. That's solely the jurisdiction of the moderator.
But it's also, and to his point, there are times when they're planning a town meeting, looking at what articles may be going on. It's a select board's town meeting. It's there. So I think there are times that they can say, well, you know, this is really not appropriate for now. We need to do a zoning
We've
article.
got too much to do on this
Right,
end,
and
let's.
maybe we'll hold that for the fall because we need to do more public hearings on it.
Sure.
Yeah. But I think that's where the leadership
flexibility.
comes in, the leadership of the select board and the leadership of the town administrator, guiding the select board, saying, that's great, but we've already got 60 articles for May.
Yeah.
You know, maybe we can push those to October.
So, Brendan,
So the second meeting wouldn't be called a special town meeting?
No,
no,
It would be called
the October
just
town
call it-
meeting.
Does that
Just
eliminate
be the October.
a special,
availability of a special
No.
eliminated?
No,
No.
it wouldn't, no.
Okay.
a special town meeting has different rules.
Right.
Right.
The October town meeting is sort of set up along the lines of a special, because in order to put a financial article in the October town meeting, you need the agreement of both the select board and the finance committee. So that's kind of a guardrail, if you will. And the only thing that I'm sitting here thinking about is on the regular town meeting, when it says "and other matters," maybe and such other matters as the select board may deem appropriate.
Yeah, that's fine.
And,
That's good.
yeah. I just want to see what the current one is versus this. But I think we should maybe have our consultants do some wordsmithing.
Well,
on both of
before we
those.
get into wordsmithing, I'm trying to get to a direction.
I think you got it.
Are we at a
Yes.
mandated fall town meeting
Yes.
with some sort of financial this one, sort of zoning and bylaw and everything else on this one?
Yes.
Are we sort of that in a
yeah.
consensus mode?
Yes.
Are you okay with that, Brendan?
Yeah, I was just checking to see if there was any, like, Mass General Law and if it contradicts it and stuff like that, so.
We can
Yeah.
do some of these things differently from Mass General Law.
Yeah, no, I know that, yeah.
He was looking for
I was just
prohibitions.
I was curious on why it changed from 87. Was there a change?
There were many inexplicable changes in this charter that
Okay.
took place when there was an entire revamp of it, and I want to say it was 2016.
I wonder who was on
I was just trying to see if,
I think it was earlier than
Winifred
No,
O'Bass.
that. I know she was.
yeah.
Yeah, and I wasn't paying attention at all through a couple of those
But keep
years,
in
so-
mind that whatever the changes were, got voted on by the residents of the town.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody didn't sneak something through.
No, but it's probably not something that people were focused on particularly in terms of what isn't there or what changed. Golf commission to a golf committee.
Right.
Why? And I'm sure there must have been reasons for it, but it wasn't broken.
But somebody decided to fix it, so
Sure,
whatever.
right, things
It was
change.
I'm
fixed.
just curious, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the wording here is reasonably what we'd like to see.
Yep.
And we can ask, I have asked the consultants to give me a timeline as when we could get a red line. Because I gave him that 6-page thing that I've been keeping track of, what we would like to see changed, adjusted, added, deleted. And I asked, when could we see a red line? So I haven't heard back yet.
On that note, when are they coming again?
I haven't heard back on that either.
Well, let's push them on that.
I have.
There are consultants, we're paying them.
Not yet,
Well, they may not if they don't.
not yet, they're not getting paid by the hour. So, we're good with codifying a
Yep.
fall town meeting.
Yep,
I hate to
absolutely.
use the word codify because that came up the other night. Has there been a vote taken? And trying to get across, we're trying to work on consensus as we codify something. We haven't taken really a vote on
Okay,
anything.
we will,
I don't think we need
We'll
to
leave
take
it
a
at
vote.
that. I don't either.
I think the
The town's the
consensus,
one taking the vote.
right. We're working together, and again,
I think we'll start taking votes as we, perhaps as we get a redlined version.
That'd be
And,
great.
Yeah.
and somebody is going to say, I'm not sure that's what we agreed to, and then there might be a discussion there and something get fixed or whatever. But I don't see any need for us to be taking votes on every single thing yet.
Yeah, and the consultants to look it over to make sure there's no huge red flags that we
Yeah.
might have missed or,
Yeah.
you know, can't, so, agree.
By that time, we might just say, all good.
Right.
Okay,
Forward.
so we're good on that.
Yeah.
Great,
Excellent.
okay.
that's what, that's okay. So that's what
Uh,
we're gonna be making the changes. Okay, all right. Thank you. If you, never mind, I'll print it.
Okay, are we done
I
talking?
don't think,
Don't think.
ever.
That was helpful, by the way. Thank you.
Okay. And I believe I also sent you, well, let's keep going through the agenda. This code of conduct bit.
You said a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
You made me do a lot of reading.
well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.
Quiz- the quiz
It was
notes
fun going
Yeah, the
back.
quiz notes one.
Made me hungry. Made me hungry.
One of the things I would like to point out before we start a conversation on this is, in the Town of Harwich Committee Handbook,
Yeah. Which you also sent.
yes, which I sent the first few pages,
Yeah.
because those are the ones germane to this. It is a, handbook provides a brief description of elected and appointed officials' duties. So it covers both. It talks about important conduct. It talks about community responsibility, responsibility to municipal administration, conflicts here and there. There is a code of conduct, and the section is actually on page 4 titled, Code of Ethics and Conduct for Members of Boards, Committees, and Commissions. We have a code of
We know
conduct
that.
in town.
We know that.
Okay,
Here's,
so why would we want one in the charter?
well, we don't want the code of conduct written in the charter. What we want is saying that there should be a code of conduct which is written by the select board. The reason for that is that the code of conduct can be seen as policy, as setting policy in a particular realm. That's why if you take a look at the Quiznos, if you take a look at the medical one, and the one that I wrote just as fun, they all basically set a policy by the executive officer to the company. It would be the same, the select board would set the policy. It would be enforced, because you need an enforcement to anything, by the Charter Commission, because it's in the charter. So therefore, someone can write in and say, Judy Smith is coming to the meetings and is breaking the code of conduct by not adhering to this, this, and this. They write a letter to the Charter Commission through the process, of course, and the Charter Commission can bring it in, look at it, then go to the Select Board and say, this is occurring, and at least be able to point it out in public. That was the reason, not to have the actual written, because I know we have it, I know you wrote it. But the thing is, until you put it in the charter, I know you wrote it, I know it sits somewhere, I want to bring it out in the daylight.
We got all kinds of rules about driving 55 miles an hour on Route 6. And I would challenge anybody who's driving 55 miles an hour at 7 o'clock in the morning on Route 6 is going to get run off the road.
Yeah, but I've got a charter committee that is enforcing that person, or at least bringing to light that that person is doing it.
Is educating
Right.
that person.
Right. That's fair enough.
Okay.
So-
Go. Brendan.
So, when you get signed in, it does say the select board committee's handbook, so the select board is drafting it. I think if it's something you wanna put in the charter, it could be approved, there is a code of conduct approved by the select board, updated every 5 years. And that's as far as I think it should go, because the oath here does talk about the open meeting laws, conflict of interest, and it also talks about the handbook itself. So I think that's as far as I think I would take that.
Is it policy or not? That's the discussion.
Richard?
If you refer to page 6 of what you sent in the employee handbook,
Yeah.
it's basically the second paragraph. In addition, the committee member must treat, and I think that should be changed, committee member or elected official must treat residents, non-residents, petitioners, other committee members, and in-town employees with respect while performing the duties of the committee. That's an added-on paragraph. And I think that is one of the areas of the handbook that have not been followed by many across the board. I won't get into any specifics.
Yeah, that was the only paragraph I highlighted.
And that's what I had bracketed here, the same thing. So, again, as we're going through this process, we're seeing a lot of things we've discussed of what might have happened in the past has been codified in the charter and in the bylaws,
Just hasn't been.
hasn't been enforced. Back to the old do your job.
Leave enforcement, that's
No,
a different topic.
No, I get it, but here's the thing is, this is the area that I'm most interested in seeing codified. I want this so that when people know, if someone's coming to one of my committees, that every person is treated with respect, I don't care who you are. Whether I agree with you, whether I disagree with you, whether you're my friend, whether you're my foe, that there's a level of respect that needs to be shown to every committee member, to every taxpayer, to every resident, to anyone who appears before any committee, whether it's the town administrator, the select board, any committee, or any resident who's attending a meeting. There's got to be a level of respect that is expected and shown.
Okay,
And I think that's where we've fallen down.
but I got it. Now that was, get off the soapbox for
So
a
now,
minute.
but how do we put it in so that we're dealing with that, they have to deal with it?
Okay, then that's the topic. Because yes, having sat on the select board recently, that I know that people did not get reappointed to committees because of behavior. Behavior, attitude, just leaving it at that. Not because they were following the charter, because there was behavior or attitude. So that does happen. But again, back to get away, to get, kind of move a little bit away from what happens and it's not being enforced, what do you put in the charter? Do you put, because we've got in the charter now that the select board, you will be considered for reappointment. Basically, you will get considered for reappointment if you're an appointed committee member. Elected people go on the ballot. Do you want to put in the charter something that says, you will not be reappointed for or something like that? No? Okay,
I
good.
think what you need to have in there, as I think Brendan said, however you want to wordsmith it, you will uphold a code of conduct as defined by either the select board or select board policy or town policy, as noted in the employee handbook, select board policy, whatever it might be. I want something in that charter that at least respects the code of conduct, whether it's a policy of the board, whether it is, and it should be a policy of the board, as written, again, in the employee handbook. It's there.
And if they want to add penalties or policing, they can do that to this document if they want to.
That's the handbook you can.
The handbook,
Right.
yes.
But I think that it's as simple as a sentence or a statement
Yeah.
Okay, so,
recognizing.
so write it, because we keep
I'm
talking
not gonna write,
about.
I'm gonna turn to a consultant, we're supposed to
Look
be.
at your notes from
I
that.
want to know what you want to say,
I think the way you
not what
put
the
it was perfect.
consultant says. I
Yeah,
want,
I
Okay,
think it's
can
just
I-
keep it real simple. It's not
can
a
I-
big
can I-
ask to
So
get
she's
into the
done.
weeds, just not to get into the weeds, but just keep it very simple, that it
Squeeze.
is to be written and approved by the select board and, reviewed or, you know,
Updated every 5 years.
every 5 years, just like the housing production plan, let's say every 5 years you do something like that. And it just keeps it on everyone's mind every 5
Yeah.
years, and, you know.
Last week, we went over,
You're not recognized yet.
Can I
So I
get a
just-
word in here?
Brendan, you done?
I was just saying, just keep it as simple as
Yep.
possible, that's all.
Sandy?
Okay. Brendan, I think is on it, right there. I think that's exactly it. If you're gonna put it in at all, it needs to be just that, under the policy leadership responsibilities, chapter 3. I think it fits in very nicely there, because 322 says the select board shall cause the laws and orders for the government of the town to be enforced. And another paragraph can talk about your code of conduct.
Yeah.
Cindy, give me again where you put it
See,
in.
page
I'm
5?
looking at,
Page 5?
yeah, section 3, policy
chapter-
leadership,
Chapter 3, Section 3,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay,
And I think Brendan's
Yeah.
language is
okay.
sufficient.
Will you write that for?
I do not think, Lou, just so a point of information, that if there is a charter compliance commission, I do not think that you want them involved in codes of conduct. I think that
that was
there-
just an example.
that should be specific to bylaw, charter issues, conflict issues.
Again, that was thrown out just as an example.
Well, we can now just threw it out.
Well, thank you.
But if it's in the charter,
It's in the charter.
right, it is a charter.
Yep. That's another thing. That's why I put
Well,
it
if
in
the
there.
select board decided to turn it over to that group, I suppose that could be it, but I think it's
I'm-
But
Again,
if they're the one.
violating it.
Right,
we're
violating.
we're talking about guardrails.
And if you
Okay.
check on page 5 of the committee handbook, get to, at the top of the page 3, you got A, direct all problems or conflicts which cannot be solved in-house, meaning the committee itself deals with it.
right.
They go to the town administrator,
It's already there.
everything goes to the town administrator, and the town administrator you can also to the select
I'm
board.
sorry, what page is that on?
It's page 5 of the
Right,
committee handbook.
yeah.
So this is already in there as to a process to follow.
I'm not seeing it.
Don't look at me in that way.
I'm thinking of,
What do you think, Richard?
I'm thinking the process and how it actually works is what I'm trying to work through.
Did you find it?
Yeah, I got it here.
Okay.
And town administrator, select board
Does
is the
do
one that's
behavior
breaking the
against
code
state.
of conduct by yelling and screaming or throwing somebody out.
Richard, I think
Monitors it.
Oh, it's a
We-
great question.
That's why,
I think the intent, Richard, is that any issues that can't be resolved, regardless of what it is, within the committee responsibilities, code of ethics, et cetera, goes to the town administrator.
But if the town administrator is in violation,
Then,
and not only
This is-
that,
This is for code of, are we talking about the committee handbook or the code of conduct? Because the code of conduct is in the committee
Right.
book.
yes,
So it's gonna be referencing the committee book.
correct.
So I have the select board shall create and approve a town of Harwich committee handbook. But am I putting any language in there for code of conduct? Which reference code, I don't want to get too long-winded, but,
the select board shall create and approve
yeah. A town of Harwich committee handbook. And then,
I think just which will include a code of conduct, and that paragraph is the code of conduct.
yeah, which will include,
It's not as detailed
yeah,
as you.
I'm thinking through.
well, it's
other
because it's
issues.
code, will,
Goes to the
oh,
administrator.
yeah,
We set up an administrator, and what's the number one responsibility of the select board? In our minds.
Right, oversee the town administrator. Oh, policy. Yeah, no, I get it.
Policy and.
Right, reviewing the town
And if the town
administrator.
administrator isn't doing his job.
Right.
That's a tremendous hammer.
yes,
Yeah.
well, let's
Now
not
you're
talk
going
in,
in.
let's not talk in terms of hammer.
Okay,
Let's just talk in terms of This is this. So, would you, Brendan, would you consider adding, because I think that because the committee handbook does say committee, even though the first paragraph references elected and appointed.
Yeah,
The select board shall create and approve a committee handbook which covers,
I have to include a code of ethics and conduct code.
which will include a code of conduct
And
for both appointed and elected
Yes.
yes,
officials.
Yeah.
there we go, perfect.
You
And
gotta
the
include
The next
everybody.
sentence would be to
You want
be
to include everybody?
reviewed
I'm just having, I'm trying
and
to.
amended or updated, or what language you want to use, every 5 years.
Okay,
At least
I'm
once
stuck on
every 5
policy.
years.
Yeah.
Okay. Is the policy going to be that the select board is going to be in charge of the code of, or not just the code of conduct, but the handbook, all of it?
Yes,
Correct.
that's what that just
They
did.
write, they actually write it now.
I know, but
it was approved, that was, has been approved by prior select boards, and when it was rewritten in several years ago, it was also approved.
So it's a policy.
So it's a
Yeah,
policy.
it's a-
yeah, but
But what?
Yeah, about what?
we have a select board that we want to focus strictly as much as possible on large policy items.
Yeah.
We also want guardrails.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are key elements that we want.
Yeah.
So, there's two guardrails that I see that are important. One guardrail, maybe it's the handbook, but it's the code of conduct. Because within that code of conduct, I, the select board, am in public saying, this is what we're going to do. Everybody's aware of it. And it's a guardrail. On the other side, I have another guardrail that we don't want to talk about today, but it starts with a V. That's a
V?
guardrail.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna go there.
No, I want to know V what?
Vision.
Vision.
Oh,
Okay, we're not dealing with vision.
agreed.
You forced it.
No vision.
You forced it. I didn't want to go
I'm
there.
not going to speak in code
Okay.
to the
Well,
public.
but that's another guardrail. Okay, both guardrails.
I don't think a vision is a guardrail.
I agree.
Vision and mission
It's a policy.
statements. No, vision and mission statements are not
dream.
policy, it's a dream, it's an aspiration, it is not policy.
Yeah,
What, besides, is your problem with what we just, can you, by the way?
I don't have a problem. I'm just trying to think through.
Okay.
You know, without jumping in and saying, yes, this makes sense, and then going home thinking about it and saying, ah.
So why don't you read what you just wrote there?
Like, I scribed what Brendan said.
yeah.
Yeah.
Select board shall create and approve a town of Harwich committee handbook, which will include, well, we have shall, a code of conduct for both appointed and elected officials, review every 5 years or something.
And I would just add in Town of Harwich Committee Handbook.
I did say,
Yeah.
create and approve a town of Harwich committee
Yep,
handbook,
perfect.
which will include a code of conduct for both elected and appointed officials.
To be reviewed at least
Yeah,
once,
in
at
this
least
review
once
part.
every 5 years.
So we have that. Okay, let's assume that
Yeah,
that's
that's
nailed
good.
down. Now,
Well,
let's,
I'm trying to get here.
Yeah.
We're there. We're there, though.
We there?
Yeah.
yeah.
We're there?
So there.
We're all
Herb, you
agreed.
okay?
Yeah.
So wait.
Section leadership, that section is
So I
Sandy
wanted to
suggested.
read
Good.
something first before you codified it in paper. Now, let's think about this. Just listen to it. The town shall adopt and maintain, by ordinance or policy, whatever, a code of conduct applicable to elected and appointed officials. Such code shall be consistent with the charter, state law, and principles of ethics in government. That's what we started with. That's what I want. Now, I don't know how that melds in, but it's the responsibility. It's a point that says you're responsible, select board. This is something that's your job. You do it, and you're going to guide how we talk to each other, and it's going to change every few years.
Okay. The select board shall be responsible.
You
No,
can,
no, I don't want to
Yeah,
say.
that's good. To create-
Responsible,
That's,
The
and that's,
wording on that's
yeah.
actually pretty decent.
I think you just
Nancy.
want,
but shall be responsible
she just threw you
for,
a bone.
for the creation. And actually, creation implies approval.
yes.
For the creation
Very good.
of a
Very helpful.
You don't have to read this, but I'll show it to you anyway.
So, are we going in that direction? Are we
Absolutely.
okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement. It's just the wordsmithing of,
It's the wordsmith.
Right.
Got it.
are you happy now?
I've been happy since the beginning.
Yeah, full of crap.
Don't
That's a
misunderstand
code of conduct
vetting
violation,
for being
sorry.
upset. Don't
Let's
misunderstand.
see, what's that,
Aren't we supposed to
what's the
look at
code
all
of
sides?
conduct say about that?
Yeah, I know. No, that's good. That's a good discussion. Next.
We're moving
Thank you for
on.
bringing it up again.
All right. Lou, you brought up again, revisit the communicate, somehow putting into the charter communications between town agencies and department heads. Now, we had said we weren't going to do something, and you wanted to bring it up. So, where are we?
And that's already in there.
Where?
Oh, you're gonna make me go looking. Okay, it's in the act.
I'm not here.
It's
Oh,
in
hold
the
on,
employee
hold on,
handbook.
hold
Oh, you're in the employee handbook, okay.
Access to town council, and I think should be access to however you wanna do it. Interaction with staff. I'm sorry, it's access to town council, not to staff.
Yeah, town council is
Yeah,
very
yeah.
different.
And that is, they created a new policy that they already had. But access to staff,
So you and I sit down, I'm
Yep.
the select board, you're the town administrator, and we sit down and we say, we have these regulatory committees, and we need people that you're supervising to be there. How do we want to establish it? What do we want to do? Do we want this person always to be at this meeting? Do we want this person just to be called in? Right now, we don't have that. Right now,
so,
it's,
case in
Okay.
And I
point,
think,
Monday
and I
night.
think that the charter will have to be followed. We don't have the authority to rewrite the handbook.
No, I get that, but, and I think that Monday night, they were discussing budget, timeline, and capital plan.
Mhm.
The finance director was in the room and attended the meeting at the direction of the town administrator. So that if, I think what we're doing, we had this whole discussion of, if he's running the show, then if the select board says, we need to have the charter commission come in next week, because we're discussing whatever it might be. Or it is we're discussing zoning, we need the community development director at the meeting. Who runs the employees? Who's responsible for the employees?
Administrator.
So I think the avenue has to be select board to town administrator.
Yeah, but this is a great opportunity if you look at it. Okay, just hear this out. The select board and the town administrator shall jointly develop and maintain a policy outlining how department heads interface with support and provide information to boards, committees, and commissions, ensuring a clarity of roles, consistency of communication, and effective operations. You are forcing the two groups, okay, now here's one place where the town administrator and the select board, in the future, if it's different people, they still have to come together to create this policy. That's why I wanted to bring it back. Again, it goes back to,
But you believe that should be in the charter?
yeah, absolutely. Tell me why it wouldn't be. That's the other thing. That's the other way of looking the other side of the equation.
I'm just thinking because the town administrator is the CEO.
Yeah, but the CEO has to meet with his board of directors to decide what to
I
do.
agree. And this is back to the do the job.
Uh-huh.
If the board of directors says to the CEO, we need the department head of whatever to be working with whoever.
Then he's gonna go to the board of directors and get the CEO fired.
Well, there was a committee in town recently that everybody got replaced because they kept using the word fired, so cut it out.
All right.
I-
I wasn't part of that committee. That was knowledge that I was
Doesn't not matter. I
Alright,
think we
so-
all talked about being respectful of town employees, so talking about firing them is not a good thing.
No, but it's,
Let me say, let me
Go ahead.
try something.
Sure, go ahead.
Which is, I see both sides. we have had in the past committees that have asked for example, I'll give you the Finance Committee as an example. There has not been a member of the Finance Department, and we did have people here and there, you know, one after another, but still, and they weren't going to the Finance Committee meetings. How is the Finance Committee supposed to make a intelligent decision on whatever, to support whatever, if they can't have access to the people who might have the financial information? So,
Makes sense.
while I agree with you, Richard, that the town administrator should be running the show and should be providing information, if that person decides not to, I don't want this person at these meetings, I don't want department heads going to these committee meetings, I don't want any of that, then you have no way to change that or to make it work. I think what Lou is trying to say is we should put in the charter that the town administrator has to provide information to committees upon request, has to respect committees when they say, can we have somebody come in and explain to us how the financing for the golf course blah, blah, blah is going to function and how's it going to work? If you can't get that information, how can you actually expect the committee to make a
I
decent?
don't disagree with that at all. What, my point being is, back to the do the job, well, the board of directors, the select board, oversees the town administrator. That's their number one charge. And if the town administrator is not doing that job of providing the information to the committees,
But nowhere in the charter does it say that the town administrator has to provide information. They have to pay the bills, they have to do this, they have to do that.
Linda, I would differ only one way, or add on to it, which is, rather than a committee suggests that somebody come, that there's a policy
Well,
established, right? Okay,
But that's a
Right.
nit.
okay,
We're trying to stay up here.
okay, I'll fly up.
but see, in 431,
Wait a minute, let me get there.
on page 7, okay?
This the charter?
Yeah, charter. 431 on page 7.
431.
Town administrator shall be the chief administrative officer of the town, shall be responsible for administering and coordinating all employees' activities in departments placed by general law, this charter, or bylaw, under the control of the select board and of the town administrator.
Does it say provide information? It does not.
But it says
It does not.
It says administering
Yep,
and coordinating. And so is that not one of the jobs?
nope,
Really?
doesn't say it
You're
here.
fighting a battle, there's more fighting, it's not.
Yeah, I'm reading it the way you're reading it, it's all covered.
I think it's covered.
I don't think it's
but-
covered, because we had a town administrator in recent history
But-
that wouldn't let a piece of information out of the office.
But the
that
select
was a-
board
But that
was not
goes back to-
overseeing that
That's
town
different.
administrator
And so
to get the job done.
So
So-
where is it going to be in the charter?
This is the select
That's
board is in
somebody-
charge of the town administrator.
We said clarity in the charter.
No, I,
Okay, that this is a clarity of
This is a
what
clarity
and listen,
issue.
if you're gonna make a change, then frankly, I think where you're gonna do it is right there,
It-
under the
you
duties
can put
of,
it- yeah.
and providing information as necessary
Yeah, you can throw that in there.
to committees or chairs.
Now you're into a definitional role. What does provide information? That's why, put yourself in the selectman that we have's head and working through this, okay?
Yeah.
Well, I tried. You want to give them the ability to sit and say, this is what we want, this is what you want. Okay, we have a policy that we're going to follow, and gee, Susie Q isn't going to this committee, and we decided that it wasn't, that was the way it was going to be. I have now something that I can talk to the town administrator of. It is it's directive, it's clear,
You just mentioned the word policy, though,
always.
but you said it should be a policy.
Yes, yes, that's what this says. It says that they will sit together and develop a policy, how that communication is going to work, who's going to be at what meetings and so forth. And that should happen right up front every year.
I still think you can put it into that paragraph.
I don't think, I'm not, yeah, I don't disagree, I just want to make sure that that it's done. I think that's important.
I'm
What
not,
about J, read J. real
Yeah,
quick.
I'm just, that's what I'm going to.
Yeah.
431J,
Yeah, it's on page 8. It says coordinate with the approval of the select board, the administrative activities of all town agencies and officers concerned with the physical, economic, environment, development of the town.
Okay, yes, coordinate the activities. This person is in charge of the accounts receivable department, and the accounts receivable department, making sure that the cash that comes in gets posted to the right person so we can send out the dunning notices. That is administering a department. Nothing in there says, and I have to tell anybody what percentage of the accounts are delinquent.
Sounds spoken like a good accountant.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think I am?
I-
A good
But if
accountant,
the
let me tell
select
you.
board, the select board asked for that
I'm not sure, do
information.
those two words belong in the same sentence?
Ooh.
A good account, oh, yeah. Well, a good accountant knows how to.
Let's not go there.
Wow. Hey, it's not on me, so it's good.
That's a whole
Good
different
lawyer.
discussion.
Yeah, all right,
You've
children.
been so
I
good.
mean, I guess it's how you define the word activities.
Yeah, right. It's-
So
But
there's
see-
a lot of, we can put a lot of adjectives in here too. I mean, I don't know.
I would be happy with, and I'm never happy, under 431, the town administrator shall be responsible for fulfilling informational requests and providing access to department heads, as needed by committees, boards, and commissions, or some such nonsense.
That's,
I mean-
you're adding a sentence, that's fine. I don't think you need a separate you can do one sentence.
I'd like
I
to
think-
see it somewhere in here.
That's fine.
Why do you use the words reasonable and facilitate in this?
Good words.
In the sentence that says the town administrator shall facilitate reasonable
Access?
access to appropriate staff to all town boards and committees upon request.
The town administrator shall facilitate reasonable access to, yes, I can only write so fast. I'm an accountant, I'm not a scribe.
Good accountant?
Yes, very good. The
The
town administrator shall facilitate reasonable access
Was that was the top one?
to,
No, let's go to conduct.
I
staff,
think even
to
that.
staff,
appropriate staff,
Boards, committees, and commissions.
hang on, one time only, town administrator shall facilitate reasonable access to appropriate staff and information, because it's not just
Yeah,
the staff,
yeah.
upon request
To boards, committees, and
to
commissions.
boards, committees, and commissions, whether elected or appointed.
And so, does that
well, I'd
cover?
start with all elected or appointed town boards,
Yeah,
committees.
I think
So does that cover?
Reasonable access, well,
To appropriate
it would,
establishment,
because
but to all,
if the town administrator doesn't want 5 calls every week from different committees wanting access to staff, then at some point, said town administrator is probably gonna say to said chairman, okay, you work that out with the department head. Because he
So-
doesn't really wanna be in the middle of coordinating everything.
So let's solve the finance problem. I want to see, or what we had in the past, the finance department wants to have a permanent member, a permanent department sitting at their table whenever they meet. They think that that's very important.
Is that,
Does
They'd
this
have to
cover-
ask the town
How do I get
administrator.
that done?
actually, the finance committee has put that in their charter
Yeah,
request.
But how do we get that done?
Well, if it's
They
in the,
asked
if
for it to
it's,
be in the
if it's in the charter,
Right.
that's
So-
where
but
you
we,
get it
we
done.
haven't, we haven't agreed to put that in the charter yet.
Well,
Right.
but that's what was requested.
I know it's a request, but
So-
it doesn't mean it's
But
been
in terms
done.
of doing it for everyone, how, does every committee have to come to us if that's what they want? To put in the charter that that's what they would like to see? Or should we put something in there that doesn't, that allows that to occur?
Okay, here's the thing, and I hear what finance committee wants.
I use that just
Okay.
because.
I'm assessing committee, assesses.
Right.
And I want the finance director at all my meetings, because we're dealing with issues that come from finance.
Yeah.
We are one of the arms of the finance department. Is it reasonable? To be honest with you, I don't think it is.
Well,
I think there are times that I want the finance director there, that I make a request to the department head through the town administrator to get the finance director
You've
there.
made
There's
my-
another
but
thing
you-
that you need to take into account too. Finance director, all of the staff are under, almost all the staff, are under some sort of either contract or
Yep.
union
Right.
contract.
Right.
And I don't think that we've got to be very careful not to
Right.
mandate something in the charter
Right.
that would create a grievance
Right.
of an employee being told that they have to be at
Right.
2 meetings a night every week outside of regular business hours when they've got a union contract that says, no, I don't.
Yeah.
I'm stuck on something.
I don't think, but I don't
I
think
think
most
the
of the
word-
people we're talking about
Right.
on coming to a department are the department heads. They're mostly, they're not in unions. So
No, but they have personal services contracts with the select board.
they do.
And
However, that is not union
No,
that's
no,
not
but
union
it's
activity.
still-
Well, I'm talking
they-
about contracts writ large, not
Right,
just
and
union.
so what is the expectation? We just hired a finance director, with one of the contract provisions being something about work from home, okay? If that, and if, for instance, and I love the word reasonable, access, if that new department head says, I'm not gonna be at a meeting twice a month for finance.
So we know what the factors are. We know that regulatory committees will need people going there.
Mhm.
What is wrong with saying the two people got to get together and set up a policy in order to get the problem solved each and every year? Why are we having a problem with that? I'm not.
I think it's defined under activities of the town administrator. That word alone satisfies all of that.
And I
He
don't,
is coordinating all of that, is he not?
but it is
Why don't we have
it is
this,
silent
I know it's silence.
access. It is completely silent on access.
why don't we have this conversation with our new TA in about a month?
We can hold off and just do
Because
it.
I suspect that this is something that he has worked through in his previous community, and by all accounts has worked it through very well, so let's see what he has to say about it.
Good
We
point.
could do
That's-
that.
that's
At least
fine.
it's not closed.
But I'd
No, I
like-
agree, no.
But I'd
nothing's
still like to know
closed.
where we think we're going.
Well, I don't even know where I'm going, because I would really like to hear from the person who's gonna be in the job, who's gonna be responsible for staff, as to what we could say that would accomplish the purpose, or what the process has been for him
It's a great
before.
idea.
I like the idea of what the
I'm kind of-
process has been. I think it's fabulous. But remember, we're not going to do this for our present town administrator, because 8 years from now.
That's not
Yeah.
what I'm saying at
Okay,
all.
all
I am
right.
saying what has worked for this
That
person
part, yes.
who has subject expertise in the subject, who might help clarify, because I'm listening to this and I can't even tell you, it's.
I can tell you somewhere where I'm a little concerned, which is, while I agree that the charter should be somewhat loose, so you don't get caught up in red shoes on Tuesday, blue shoes on Wednesday, we also want it to be reasonably specific. And over the past many years, not being in, if something is not, the charter is a contract with the town. That's what the charter is, it's a contract. Both, something is proposed, it's agreed to, it's a contract. And I think that contract law is, if the contract is silent on it, you get to do it, or not. So I want to, one of my main objectives through all of this is take the wiggle room out. What is the problem? What is the negative aspect of specifically stating that a committee can request, through the town administrator, and I'm fine with that, a department head to appear to talk about certain topics?
I have no issue with that, and I love the word used.
Reasonable.
Reasonable.
Reasonable access.
Right,
So
reasonable
is this okay?
And I would say, in addition to Mr. McGrail coming in, I'd love to hear from our acting what his thoughts about that are. Because both of them, he's been a town administrator in 3 communities now.
Yep.
Now, I'd love to hear his input on it, as well as Mr. McGrail's. And we have to come up with something, we know that. We need to agree on how it's gonna come in.
Do we agree that something should be in the charter? Let me just ask that question.
I think so.
I think we're there on
Subject
that.
to change.
Something,
Subject to change,
something.
I
but
mean, just amending
What's,
section
right,
3.
yeah.
Okay.
adding something into section 3.
Mhm.
And I don't think it, like we did last on the code of conduct, it doesn't need to be voluminous.
No.
It could be a sentence, and that clarifies without being so restrictive that it ties anyone's hands.
Yeah,
I mean, because I sit on the Traffic Safety Committee. Unfortunately, the Traffic Safety Committee, its composition is supposed to be somebody from the police department and somebody from the Public Works Department. If we didn't have those two people sitting in those meetings, and we didn't have access to them, when a member of the community says, why can't we do this? Why can't we just pick a sign up and move it 6 feet? Because Mass DOT says you can't do that. Once it has to be X feet from here and X feet from there. You can't just pick it up and move it. And we would go round and round if we didn't have access to those two people, because they have been invaluable
Sure,
on solving issues.
absolutely. I think your point you made about the contract, it goes back to the issue you said, this is a contract with the town. Everything is supposed to be done that way. It is. But what has happened and where it's fallen down is people have not enforced it.
There has been no enforcement.
There's
Absolutely.
interpretation also,
Oh, absolutely.
and that's,
Part of what I'm trying to do is take the interpretation out.
I get that. And again.
That's one of my missions.
And I know we can use the word reasonable and say, wow, what is reasonable? We get 3 attorneys and there are 3
yeah, the
different
reasonable
definitions.
thing could be,
Yeah, it's,
or even just defining activities.
that's why,
Take that word and expand that.
that is the reasonable, and it's actually doing, I know, if I can, just for 1 second.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the code of conduct for 1 second to make a point, if I may.
Okay.
In the code of conduct, right? The one for the banking industry. We had about 200 employees sitting on the phone, talking to real estate agents and more, so you know how the tension. So you put in the code of conduct that you will treat the customer with respect. But that doesn't mean anything, so you have to execute on that. What do? You go out and you buy mirrors in front of everybody's desk, because you know it's real hard to yell when you're looking at yourself. That's the follow through, okay?
Lou wants to punish people. That's what he really wants.
No, I don't. I
Just say
want-
it, Lou.
No, I
Punish
don't. As a
people.
matter of fact, I want to keep that from happening. You know, punishment has been put on me, and I'm trying to work some of these things out. It's called take the guesswork out of government and give leadership from this committee through the written word, through the people that are going to execute on it. Chief Executive Officer means that they develop strategy. Chief Operating Officer means I execute on that strategy. So we have that basic framework. We have the select board and we have the town administrator. The select board says, I want you to go from here to here. And the town administrator goes, okay, how do I get there? I will come up with the strategy. That's what this is supposed to do, is to give me the rules. At least that's what I think.
Herb, what do you think?
He's trying.
I'm thinking.
I go through the
That's
same
what it
thing.
looks like.
I put a little
How
oil.
about this as a possible type of language? To say that the town administrator shall facilitate reasonable access to and information from appropriate staff, including but not limited to providing attendance at meetings as needed.
I like that.
That's nice.
The only thing that doesn't address this is I'm the town administrator, and there's 9 committees, and now I'm getting all these calls, and it would be nice just to have a,
Well, you know, quite
Maybe-
frankly, that's
maybe-
up to the town administrator.
Yeah.
If the town administrator is getting 47 calls a day because of all these requests, town administrator is going to say, this is going to be the policy. Send me it in writing, exactly what you want, on an email, and what you're looking for in detail.
Days
That's,
ahead. Well,
that
if I-
process is the town administrator's
If
job.
I'm the town
Yeah, he controls
administrator,
the
I'm going to
activities.
sit down with staff ahead of time and
Mhm.
specify to them what I expect, how they expect them to interact with the boards and committees.
That too.
And how I would expect that they should plan to attend at least some of the meetings if they are requested to attend. And if such board or committee abuses their privilege, the employee talks to the administrator and said, this board is driving me nuts.
It's very, may I?
I mean, that's management.
Yeah.
That is management. And it's not any different from whatever industry. Municipal is no different than anything else in terms of the management process.
And he
If
can
it im-
facilitate any way he chooses
That's
to
right, because
facilitate.
there could be, there could be two department heads that are at war over something. Well, they go to the town administrator has got to straighten it out,
So-
figure out what's going on. That's personnel management.
The good news is we're all trying to get to the same place. It's just how we get there. That's the only difference. I'm looking at something else in terms of an example and what's driving all my frustration towards this issue. It's like going to a select board meeting and discussing a particular business license and saying, I need 20 different licenses versus having a policy that says, this is how you handle the hours and everything else. You're dealing with the specifics. This committee has to call and say, I want this, and then next week, something changes.
This committee has to be.
Can he develop a
This
policy
committee
that?
chairman can sit down with the town administrator one time and say, we're gonna need to be able to talk to so-and-so. Is that a problem?
Who is the select board, who are the committees responsible to, for all practical purposes?
Select board.
Okay,
Except for traffic safety.
okay, except for, okay, so you have an
Yeah.
organization
Yeah,
here
the town
where
administrator.
everybody responds to here. You have an organization where everybody responds to here. Do I get to make all the rules for this organization?
I'm lost. Who's the,
Yeah, there's
there
a
are too
lot
many
going on there.
there's too many hands moving there.
Well,
I think
Yeah.
you're over.
Just-
Yeah, no,
just-
say it again, but if you clarify the.
right, you've got two different bodies, right? And
What are the two
Yeah,
bodies?
The town employees are on one hand, under the town administrator. The committees are on the other hand, under the select board, on an organizational chart the way it is today.
Mhm.
I'm making rules under which this body will operate. That's where, there's a mix-up here.
No, there
I
isn't.
totally lost your
Yeah.
point.
I'm sorry, I can't explain any clearer.
Richard?
I don't know how.
It's only.
I use the example. There was an issue of access to town council.
Mhm.
The acting, the interim town administrator said, very simple. Here's a form. You want access to town council, fill out the form, it comes to me. I facilitate. If you're a chair of charter review committee, and you say, we need to speak to the finance director, we need to speak to the assessor, whoever it might be, you send your request to the town administrator. It says, they can be there, this meeting or that meeting would work out best. There's gotta be, and that's the management function.
Well, I come back to
No,
the
that's the
point that
policy
you say the town administrator shall facilitate.
Yep,
How he chooses to facilitate
is up to him.
is up to him
Absolutely, or her.
or her.
And that's the management aspect of it.
Yeah.
You're having a policy in place saying there will be access
Yeah, that's what you want.
through the town administrator.
That's what's missing in the charter, is that there's no specification that the boards and committees have access to staff, to information. And that's what the finance committee's problem. Now, I would question that they need the finance director there at every single meeting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
I
Highly
don't,
question.
I don't
Yeah.
think they do.
Right.
I don't either.
But
That
I
was the
think
intent.
that when they are talking about having their budget discussions,
Yeah,
yeah.
oh, yeah.
That's
When
fine.
they're having budget discussions and they're talking,
So basically, we're all in
And this-
agreement,
yes.
somehow, somewhere, as simple as a sentence, in the charter, under the
I
town
think so.
Yeah,
administrator.
the shall give access
Yeah.
sounds really good.
Shall
Yeah.
facilitate.
So,
Yeah.
or facilitate, yeah.
Reasonable
facilitate,
Reasonable.
yeah.
access. So I think we could, we're all together saying the same thing.
I'm not,
We're
We're gonna provide
you
it.
don't have to fight me on that.
How we put it in,
That's why
I don't care how it's in there.
yeah.
Oh,
Here's the
can you-
difference between
Can you
you and I.
scan that and send it to me
I
so I
want to
have?
will be
set a
happy to
rule
do
up
that.
front
I will
that
have to
it
send
gets
to everybody.
done. Everybody
Yeah.
else wants one by
I'm
one.
trying to-
That's the only difference.
Okay.
But let me take it,
And we
because I
can
can
let
just,
anybody
I can
figure it
just
out.
write it.
So we've codified.
No,
We
we're
have-
not.
well, we haven't finalized
No,
it.
we haven't codified.
You already yelled at us for using
I
the
know,
word
I hate
codified.
codified, hate it.
What does it mean? Isn't it a
Well,
definition?
according to the other night, it was, Was a vote taken? Is it written down that the vote was
Well,
taken?
That's not, yeah, that's probably it. That's unfortunately what it means.
I prefer to say, we're working in
Discussing.
consensus on these issues. Because there's disagreements on.
Watch, until the town votes, there is no
Oh,
real
God,
vote.
yeah. No, I agree. I totally agree.
Oh, here we go. Codify to arrange into a systematic code. How's that?
We are
Sounds good.
codifying.
Now we can't say it
That's
anymore.
the large project, is codified.
Right.
That was a good compromise there.
At least we brought it back from the dead.
I can type this and send it out. to
Well,
everybody.
it's gonna get done tonight, because I'm leaving at 4 AM tomorrow morning.
Oh.
So I gotta get this done now.
Where you going?
California,
She's going to dodge a
Texas.
major snowstorm is what she's gonna do.
That's a
Look at
great
that.
idea.
You think?
Question,
It's gonna miss us.
Sandy.
Yeah, me too. I
Sandy,
gotta be in
one
Boston at
thing
9
that you
a.m.
do
on
not
Monday
say in
morning.
here
That-
is that
Being
it should
doctor.
be to
You better go up
elected
Sunday
and
night.
That's
appointed.
what I'm
That's
thinking.
fine. Add it.
If
So
they're
add
even gonna be
Be a
elected.
warning.
Yeah.
Somehow the elected
Grab
and
a
appointed.
hotel.
Now,
No.
yeah, I'm not gonna be here, so I want you guys to be nicer to Sandy than you are to me.
They won't.
Behave yourselves.
Actually, we're much
She's
nicer.
got a
But I'll
bigger
be
whip.
nicer to
We're
them
much
than,
nicer to her.
I'll be nicer.
Yeah, you are.
I'll be nicer to them than you are.
See, that's why. That's why we're nicer. See?
Hey,
She's got a
if I
bigger
wasn't
whip.
corralling all of you to something, we'd be nowhere.
I resent that.
You resemble that?
I resent that. Do you resemble us? It's the
Do you rese-
Stooges.
do you
I
resemble that?
I resemble it.
Yes, you do. All right,
What's
looking
next?
good. Okay.
What's next in our last 10 minutes?
Da, da, da,
We don't
da.
have anything.
Chapter
else.
10, Section 4.
I think we got the opinion from Judith that leave it in there, you know. Just
Why? Yeah, what was... I'd like a little bit more than that.
where would you like, I think it needs to go somewhere. I think that from the wastewater commissioners, it was move the section somehow, move stuff to, because it's a transition section is what it is.
Yeah.
Isn't the transition over at this point?
Yeah.
Well, is it? That's a good question. Is it?
Select board's in charge of construction?
And the
Once
wastewater
it's done,
Wastewater
they handle it.
department doesn't wanna be, and
Right, and that's the way, I was up there today about something about wastewater, and it was, that's town hall. They're dealing with the construction. You wanna know when the next one's gonna come online? That's town hall. We're not gonna, once we get the okay that it's done, then the Board of Health will send out letters saying, you have got 1 year to connect. But,
And then we will do it, and we will send you invoices.
yeah,
But until then,
Until
they're
then.
not doing it.
until we have it,
to read that whole section over a little more carefully,
There's
just
a-
to see if there's any part of it that needs to stay there.
Because I know that the wastewater commissioners suggested that any wording to the design and construction of a sewer system get moved to
Right.
the select board section,
Right.
out of their section, because that's the select board is taking that,
Mm-hmm.
handling that, or, all right. Take a look at that, and we can revisit it. We have no public here. We did get I sent out a fairly lengthy memo from the Collins Center, Charter Compliance Mechanism, Warrant Closing Deadlines, and Health Insurance.
yeah.
And we could read through that, but I think it was some pretty good information in there.
Yep. But we're not gonna address that tonight.
What do you want on next week's
And
agenda?
a fair amount that I totally disagree with, just so you all know.
That's okay.
What's that?
The Collins, I'm not happy with that report at all.
Okay. All right. All right. Y'all are charged with, for the next agenda, is gonna be, read that chapter 10, section 4, so you can actually have a productive conversation as to whether it should be there, moved, or what. That's one. And this will go out tonight.
Oh, dang, where did I put it?
I think, also, I think we had on the agenda, because I met with Sandy, this survey concept, and whether or not we want a vision statement.
You're not here for that?
I am not here for that. That is why it's next week.
Thank you.
I don't think there's enough bourbon to make me sit through that one.
And if you think you're gonna be any better off with that, you're wrong.
It's not in there, it's not in there, it's just, we're trying to get something done.
Mhm. We're trying.
We're trying.
So we good?
Yeah.
Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Very good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Hit the magic button, please.
yes, push the magic button. And 7:55, look at that.